Okay, we got this Yamaha Big Bear here, and it's got a problem. And you can hear it here as soon as we start it. We're not fully sure what it is yet, though. We got all the bolts out of the cover, and then to get this speedo cable drive out, it's just going to pull up and out of here. You can grab it with like a pliers and wiggle it, and it'll come up out. And what we've discovered is you look down inside here, all of these tang things here are getting chewed up. Something's hitting them and rubbing against them, and it's this piece right here, because the edge on this is all chewed up. And when we actually spin this, it's pushing that out. It's wanting to push everything out. Okay, we just kind of were spinning this, and it was wanting to push it out. And while we got it all the way off, what we discovered is we have a busted crankshaft. Snapped the whole entire crankshaft. Because on this, we should have had to unthread this nut to take this shaft off, so this would have slid off. But it all just came off because we had this busted crankshaft. Actually, it doesn't need to come out of there. It's right there. It's not coming out. Okay. What we have to do to get this engine out of here is we have to actually drop the whole rear axle off of here, the rear end, from right here back. What you got to do is, you got a little cap here, there's a lock nut that you got to take off, and then you got to thread out this piece in the middle. And we got to take this stud out of here. And then you got to pay attention, there's a spacer back behind here that you got to get. The reason we got to take this loose is we just need to get, there's two bolts, there's one right here and then there's one on the bottom on that side, and they go into the engine case itself, and we need them loose so that the engine can slide out the other way. Because what we have is there's a bevel gear right here, and then there's another gear right here in this thing, and they're just meshed right here, so it will slide out that way. So we just got to get these two bolts out so that engine can slide out. Okay, here's the piece we actually separated. You can see this bevel gear here, and then there's the other one back inside of there. And just taking them two bolts out allowed it to separate from that transmission. We just pounded a screwdriver in between it to get it to separate. Okay, we got her loose and we got her part way out. Got all four of our engine mounts loose, and we ended up pulling the gas tank to take the top mount off so that it would clear. So now we're just working around out of here. And there we go. Okay, now you look down in here, this is what we have left of it. That's our, they call it the middle drive gear is what they call it. And that's the one bevel gear that hooks up. And you look down below, our front drive shaft unhooked from the U-joint, so we got to make sure we get that hooked back up before that engine goes in. Rear end back on here, we had to separate it up here to get them two bolts that hold this to the engine. We had to take, and there's a shaft that comes in here, there's the out piece on this, and then the shaft comes down, and then there's a coupler, and then there's the other shaft that goes up to your U-joint that's in here. And well, you have to take and get that coupler to go onto the shaft that comes out of this. To get this screwdriver down here, we kind of tied up on the second half of that U-joint there where that shaft is connected. Then we take the back end here, we kind of lifted it up and down and twisted it side to side and got it to slide, and then eventually it did pop out. Then we didn't have to take this all the way apart.